All right, so this is where we left off. And now what I want to do in this video is to do probably maybe two things. I want to show you foremost how you can change the property of a button that, more like changing the property of a button that you click on. So let's say I click on this button and I want to change a property just by clicking on this button. And let's say the property I want to change is the property text. So I want to say once the person has clicked this button, I want to say you clicked me or something like that. Done clicking or submitted. You know, just anything. But how would we do that? Again, we want to know by design, from the design, we want to know what this ID is. This is button submit. So let's head back to the code and we'll just set the property. Again, notice that we're still in this same on event button submit. And so it's more like saying we are setting the property of the button itself to something else. So what I want to do is to set the text to say we want to set that text to form submitted, just anything, right? For now, we're just putting this there. And let's say we want to also increase the width. Once they do that, and we can also say set property, the same button submit, and let's change the width this time around. Let's change that to 250. And we can also set the property of that same button submit. And let's see what other property we can change here. And let's say we want to align the text. And let's say we want to justify or we want to center, whatever it is we want to do, but we can do all that right here. So if I go ahead and run this application now, and I click this button change, now you see we have this form submitted. And let's see if we can align the text to center. And let's see if that changes anything, because it appears to me like it's just left, but now you can see. And the reason we can't really see this is because this button is now so wide that it has gone beyond the space we have here. So of course, if you want to rectify that, it would probably be for you to either reduce the width or to also set another property. The X property would be the property you want to set. But again, that's just it. So, and just so you see that this actually works, let me change this to 150 and let's see what we get if we reset. And now you see form submitted. All right. All right, so now let's see how we can actually do this, change this color randomly. How can we randomize this color such that we're not specifically stating the color right from initial? Now we can do this in a long form where we have var r equal to, and we state the value of the red, right? Or we even say red explicitly, but probably r is okay. So let's say R, and then we want to say random number. Now this number it's between 0 and 255 inclusive. So 0 and 255. So we can say from 0 and 255, and we'll do the same thing for G, and we'll do the same thing for B. And I just copied that and I'm just pasting that here. So again, same thing for G and same thing for B. Now we can go ahead and plug in those values here and say R, and here we say G, RG, and here we say B. All right, and we've not changed anything. However, let's change this alpha value so that we can have lesser transparency. Again, the more you get, the closer you get to 1, the less transparent it is. The more you get to 0, the closer you get to 0, the more transparent it is. And so 0.1 is more transparent, as you could tell from here, is going to be more transparent than 0.7. So let's go ahead and reset this and run this again. And once I click this, notice now that the colors are actually changing, right? And the color, the background colors are actually changing now each time I click on this form submitted. So what have we done here? We've gotten random numbers, and just so we confirm that we are actually getting random numbers here, it's more like also trying to console.log, and let's say we're getting R, and I want to show you what we're doing. R, the value of R, let's plug that here, R, and the value of G, and let's say we want to have a comma right in between that, and the value of G goes here, and we have concatenate that again with a comma, and now finally we want to have the value of B. So again, I'm going to do this. So the value of B. So let's go ahead and rerun this just so you see, and I want you to keep an eye on this part of the program. Just so you see what's changing. So each time I click this is the value, and I forgot to include the closing parentheses, just so you see. But again, this is just to show you what's really coming out of that as a result of running R. R is 65 here, G is 97, and B is 162. And if we hit the form button submit again, now you see the values have changed. And so now we are randomly choosing these numbers, and based on these numbers we're actually changing the background of this element. And this can be done with any other, and like I said, pick any other thing. So if you, for instance, pick a label box, if you pick a text input, if you pick text area, if you pick even the screen, actually we can do that with the screen as well. So this is the background color. Let's even say we want to change the background color, right? Each time we click on this button, we want to change the background color. This is called screen 1, and let me just quickly rename that to home screen, and I'll get back to code. And let's say I want to also change the background color. We can also do the set property here. And so my advice or my suggestion is, if you have to randomize several times within just a function or an event handler, an event you're trying to handle, what I would say you should do is something more like this. So you have that RGB, and then you just plug in the values there. Otherwise, just having to plug in those values, the way I'm going to show you now, is just sufficient enough. So again, we just want to have this RGB, but maybe this time around, let's just have set this alpha to 0.3, and let's go ahead and try to run these. Before we do that, let's see, it's saying something is happening. We need a semicolon right here. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to do this. Now you see change, change, and each time I'm clicking on that, it's changing the background, and it's also changing these. Now here is the catch. You notice that we get the same background here and the same background here, right? It's just the alpha that's changing. And so if I change these back to 0.7 and make them the same thing, notice now that they're the same thing, right? But let's say this is not what you're trying to achieve. How can you individually assign those random numbers? This is where you probably would need to state here that we want to pick a number for R from 0 through 255. And we want to do the same thing with G, so I'm going to get rid of G and replace that with random number, and 0 through 255. And for B as well, I'm picking a random number from 0 through 255. And so now, this time around, when I go ahead and reset and run this application and do change, notice now that we now have different colors, right? The background is different, this is different. If this is what you want to achieve, then you want to specify that you want to randomize within this RGB. But if you want to achieve having the same background on the same button, then you just need to set it just once here and reuse that in whatever places you want to reuse them. But hopefully this makes sense and you're able to see how we can set these random numbers. how we can generate these random values from using this function called random number. Hopefully this was helpful. Please let me know in the comment section if there's anything you want us to work on, or something you still don't understand about this. I'll see you some other time. Thank you. Bye.